Jimmy Carter, the 39th President of the United States, has passed away at the age of 100. And, oh man, that was the longest life he has ever lived. So, anyways...
Alright y'all, it's been a while, but I'm finally doing it. I'm finally going to be talking about Dan Sobel once again. Basically, this year, I want to go back and talk about like all the cows that I talked about last year and do updates on them, just so y'all can see how far they've came in a year. I wanted to start off with Dan specifically because he's like the most popular lolcow that I've found on this channel. Well, I didn't really find him, to be honest with you. A bunch of people have been talking about Dan Sobel for quite a while, but I was the first one to make a documentary on him, and I gotta tell y'all, it was pretty confusing. His story doesn't follow a very linear pattern, and he kind of just does a bunch of random crazy shit. Like, he's involved in random controversies all the time, and these aren't normal controversies. Like, this isn't just something you can look up on Dexterto or know your meme, you know? You have to like really do some digging to find out all these controversies he was in. The reason this is because Dan isn't like your normal lolcow. He isn't just like a popular internet figure. He's what people have deemed a user. And a user is somebody who goes on YouTube, usually reviews physical media, and they kind of just rant to each other, right? They're always doing these quote unquote opinion changes. And this is basically where they change their mind on something, so they have to make a big video declaring it, so everybody else in their group knows that they now disagree with the sentiment. Dan's full name on YouTube is Dan the My Little Pony and Sophia the First Fan. And this is why I like to make the comparison to Andrew Ditch, because he's almost like Andrew Ditch if Andrew Ditch wasn't faking his autism, because Dan Sobel definitely has some mental issues. Now, that doesn't excuse what he's done thus far, but it does sort of like give you guys an explanation on why this guy is the way he is and why I make the comparison to Andrew Ditch all the time. It's because he really does like remind me of a younger Andrew Ditch, like Andrew Ditch's son basically. But before we start grilling this dude and like totally going in on him, I wanted to first explain why he deserves this. Why is Dan Sobel claimed to be a lolcow? One of the biggest reasons is his involvement with children. Now, the physical media like sphere, I guess you can call it, or the physical media niche, this corner of YouTube has a lot of younger individuals, has a lot of kids. And Dan Sobel would speak to these kids often. And one time he was speaking to one of these younger individuals who went by the name Bella Harris Media Corner. So, you know, they would have all these different media corners. It would basically be their first name and then media corner. So she had her own channel where she was reviewing physical media. And Dan said some pretty vulgar stuff to her. I'm going to have to bleep out a lot of it because actually the first video I did on Dan is completely yellow because of how vulgar the stuff that he said to her was. He completely describes it in his apology video. Well, really, it's less of an apology video and more of just a straight full admission. He tells everybody what he did, he accepts it, and then he moves on. But he doesn't really like seem like he's sorry. It just seems like he had to record this video so people would stop bothering him about it. This is his idea of an apology. Just sort of like admit what you did, seem vaguely sorry, you know, maybe say sorry a few times and then move on. That's not how an apology works. There's some things that you just can't apologize for, that you just can't come back from. If you do certain things, then there's no just apologizing, you know, it's not going to fix it. So you scarring this little girl for life, there is no apology that's going to fix that.
Hi everybody, it's Dan. And I feel like I felt ashamed of myself after what I have done recently, this year, and for the last 4 years ago. So, I want to admit my wrongdoings the right way. So, here it is. So, I have originally joined YouTube since back in 2020. And, I did make bad videos out of the Play Along gang back in 2020, taking the Play Along gang way too seriously by forcing them to quit. And yes, I did tell Rocco and his friends to quit YouTube and take them way too seriously. And then back in 2021, I made angry message videos and furious message videos and user videos out of people that I don't like. And yes, I was a Go kid by using Go Animate styled rants and videos by acting like I was from Go Animate, which is now as Rapper Offline, Flash Themes, and Beyond. Like I was, which proves that I'm part of the Beyond community. And I think I put myself in the Beyond community too much. And yes, back in 2022, I did make bad videos out of people that I don't like. Send them grounded threats and punishment day threats, which basically was my fault for what I did. And forcing them to buy stuff that they don't want to buy. And the reason why I had to force people to buy stuff that they don't want to buy is because, well, take Andy Ho as an example. Andy Ho did all that stuff back in 2021 because he forced people to buy stuff. So I had to copy the exact same way he did back in 2021. And back in September of 2022, yes, I did scream towards my haters, which did cause me to lose friends. And yes, I did send people a COVID threat and a threat and cancer threat to George Moeller. And also, yes, I did steal SpongeBob SquarePants' line and Will Smith's line just because I got mad at a certain person. And yes, I did bash Parker's opinion on the Wiggles and Blue's Clues since yesterday. And yes, I did do because I did tell Bella Harris to shove the middle finger up her when she was young, and I did send that threat to Randy and Reese.
And that video just keeps going. I mean, what the fuck is this guy even talking about? How do you send somebody a cancer threat? What's a COVID threat? What is this guy talking about? That doesn't even make any sense. At that point, that's not even a threat. That's just impossible, dude. You can't just give somebody cancer. That doesn't make any sense. That's not doing anything to anybody, bro. I don't even think you had to apologize for that one. I mean, it is stupid, but that's not even a threat. If somebody actually believed that was going to happen to them, then they're pretty dense. I feel like Dan should have made a list of like everything he was going to apologize, and probably only should have picked like the top 3 things, because everything else, like in comparison to the main shit that he apologizes for, doesn't seem like anything, right? Like when he just goes into talking about the PDF file accusations right after talking about like COVID threats and cancer threats, it's like, come on, bro. None of that shit really matters. Like what you said before, you didn't really have to apologize for. It's all a bunch of dumb shit. Like you didn't have to apologize for being part of the Go Animate community. That's why I really feel like this apology is disingenuous. He basically just threw everything that people were like clowning on him for at the wall and apologized for it. That's all he did, right? He didn't actually like want to apologize for anything specific or actually feel like he needed to apologize. I mean, he did feel like he needed to apologize, but it wasn't himself. It was just because people on the internet were egging him on to do so. It seems like Dan Sobel has calmed down recently though. He hasn't been in much controversies. He hasn't been in much fights. He's just been making these goofy videos. So today, I just wanted to focus on this dude's cringe. I wanted to focus on Dan Sobel's new cringy videos. These videos where he's doing like these memorials of people that passed away. He does RIP videos. There's these like mail opening videos where he does the Blues Clues theme song in the beginning, you know, the We Just Got a Letter theme song. Yeah, the homie like acts that shit out right in front of everybody, right in front of the camera. You know, no editing. The background music is played off of his computer. It's pretty wild. And then I wanted to take a look at some of his food reviews because it seems like there's something in common with all these lolcows. You have Tofiachu, Nova, and then of course you have the boy King Cobra JFS who's making a food hack every week, right? All of these people love to do food reviews. They love to mess around with food. So does Dan Sobel. Whenever he goes to Burger King and, you know, he grabs himself a hamburger, he'll do a review of whatever hamburger he's eating. It's pretty funny, and, you know, I thought it would just be cool to look at so we can kind of compare his food reviews to all the other lolcows food reviews. The first videos we're going to be looking at is his memorial videos, and one of them is him giving a memorial to Jimmy Carter. Now, I don't want to give too much away, but it's pretty fucking goofy. He says some pretty wild shit in that video, and it really makes you wonder what Dan Sobel's idea of an afterlife is. Like, what does he believe in? Because he says some pretty crazy shit, like some pretty profound stuff that I wouldn't think would come out of Dan's mouth. I don't think he fully understands what he's saying when he says it, but you'll see when you get there.
Well, everyone, I'm afraid I have some shocking and devastating news that I'm going to have to tell you all. Jimmy Carter, the 39th President of the United States, has passed away at the age of 100. And, oh man, that was the longest life he has ever lived. So, anyways, let's give it a moment of silence. Thank you. Jimmy Carter will be sadly missed. May he now rest in peace. Good morning, everyone. This is me, Dan, the My Little Pony, and Sophia, the first fan. And I have some sad, shocking, and devastating news for all of you Thomas the Tank Engine fans and Shining Time Station fans out there. Brett Allcroft, who is basically the creator of Thomas the Tank Engine, sadly passed away at the age of 81. Yep, she was very old, and she has lived a very long life. So, Brett Allcroft, if you're watching this in heaven, thank you so much for being a part of our lives. Although, me and SKN9 1996 have never got a chance to meet you in person because no one who had ever grew up with you watching Thomas the Tank Engine and Shining Time Station have never got a chance to meet you in person. So, just like what I said in my other videos, we're going to have to give it like a moment of silence. Thank you. So, Britt Allcroft will be sadly missed. May she now rest in peace. Okay, this is all I'm going to say for this video for now. This is Dan, the My Little Pony, and Sophia, the first fan, signing off. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bells, and feel free to leave a comment.
Y'all, that Jimmy Carter video is super funny to me, and it's funny to me for a couple reasons. The first reason is because why would Dan Sobel be so excited to talk about Jimmy Carter's death? He has no idea who Jimmy Carter is. I doubt he knows who that is without like looking them up, you know. It's not like he's a fan of Jimmy Carter or something, or like he's devastated to hear the news. He has no idea who this guy is. He probably just saw on the news he passed away and wanted to profit off of this video. And it got a pretty good amount of views, like considering the other amount of views his videos get, you know what I mean? So yeah, I guess he's just like chasing that bag. The second reason is because he says that this was the longest life that Jimmy Carter has lived. What does he mean by that? Does he believe in like multiple lives, like reincarnation type shit? I just really don't understand what he meant by that statement. And then he goes, anyways. It's like, bro, what were you contemplating on? You think that he's gonna live another life? I just don't understand where Dan Sobel gets his idea of an afterlife, because he'll sit here and say shit like that was the longest life that Jimmy Carter lived, but in the next video he'll say that he believes in heaven and that they're looking down at him from heaven. So I just don't understand what his idea of an afterlife is. And then he talks about how the creator of Thomas the Tank Engine passed away, while saying that him and his friend didn't get to meet them because nobody who was a fan of Thomas the Tank Engine got to meet this person. I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that just because you and your friend didn't get to meet this person, that, you know, that means that nobody else in the fan base ever got to meet them. It doesn't make sense. These memorial videos always get to me, bro. They're like always hilarious to me, because you have him talking about this like extremely sad death, right? Like these extremely sad deaths of TV stars and shit. But the way that he talks about them, it's like he isn't really thinking about them when he talks about them. There's almost like a disconnect between him and whoever he's talking about. It doesn't seem like he genuinely cares that they passed away most of the time. I mean, sometimes he does. Like, it seems like he cares a lot more with that creator of Thomas the Tank Engine than he did about Jimmy Carter. Like, you can tell he just clicked record on the Jimmy Carter video because he saw it in the news. But anyway, you guys get what I mean, right? Like, there's just some kind of like emotional disconnect that he has when he's recording these videos. And it makes it come off like very hilarious because he's talking about something that's super dark and he's just not taking it serious at all and filming it as if it's just one of his normal videos. You know what I mean? Like, he just can't really fake his sadness because of his autism, I guess. Like, you can tell that he doesn't care. He has this like fakeness on him. You know what I mean? It's very similar to his apology, where it just comes off like he isn't really feeling these emotions and he's sort of like mimicking what he sees other people do. So now let's watch Dan do his real life interpretation of the moment that Steve gets a letter in Blue's Clues. He sings the We Just Got a Letter song, he does his little dance, he does his little jig, and then he plays a video message from one of his homies. It's actually like pretty crazy, you know what I mean? Like, it's wild. I've never seen somebody try to produce something like this, right? This is like something that I would do when I was 6. And he just doesn't really get the concept of editing, I guess, you know, he just doesn't get it. So everything that he does is just recorded. It's all just straight recorded, one shot, that's it, off of his iPad. It's pretty wild. It's almost impressive the way that he's able to get everything to work, you know what I mean? You do got to give him props for it because it does look shitty, but you get the idea. Like, he's able to get the idea across that this is like a show where he's reading people's letters, but you know, really, I don't think they're letters. I think it's like videos. Maybe sometimes he gets letters, but from what I've seen, it's just videos, right? Anyway, you guys get the idea. I just want to show you guys this because it's pretty hilarious.
We just got a letter. 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 I wonder who it's from. Hey, look, it's a letter from our friend, Matthew Prano.
Hi, Dan and everybody else. Today I want to show you notebook collection for my upcoming series, Blues, Clues, and Doodlebops. Would you like to see it? Great! Let me just turn the camera around. Firstly, I got the Flying Colors Handy Dandy Notebook from Steve, which I'm going to be using it for Season 1 and Season 2 of Blues, Clues, and Doodlebops. Next up, I got the Halloween-themed Handy Dandy Notebook, which has a Halloween-themed striped crayon and a ghost that was just named Boo! Wow! Scared myself.
Bye! Wow. Matthew Prano has all of his Blues Clues notebooks, like the Steve notebook and the Joe notebook, and the Love Day notebook, the Car notebook, and the Holiday notebook. He even has the Birthday notebook. And wow, he even got the green striped shirt notebook from Blues Big City Adventure. That has never happened in that movie of Blues, Clues, and You before. And our friend Matthew Prano also got the letter from Blues Big Holiday. It looks exactly the same one that my friend Hayden Seipel just got. You know, I really love all of those notebooks. Don't you?
Honestly, there was so much more of his goofy friend going off about his Blues Clues notebooks, but I had to cut it because I started getting bored listening to this guy repeat his notebooks over and over again, and Dan goes back and gives a summary of anything anyway. Like towards the end, he gets up, he throws his iPad to the ground like as hard as he can for some reason, and then he starts to recap everything his homie said. Like, he doesn't add shit to the conversation. He's just like, yeah, everyone, that's right. My friend here has a Blues Clues notebook and a shiny one and one from the movie. And it's like, bro, we just saw that. He just explained that. And you guys literally sound and look the same. So it's like I'm watching the same dude twice. These are basically the people that Andrew Ditch wishes he can be, right? These are people with like actual mental disorders. Now, does that excuse Dan Sobel being a PDF file to some girl? No, but you know what I mean? It's a very clear fact that he does have mental issues, so obviously I'm just not going to skip over that. Still, it doesn't matter. It doesn't excuse most of the shit that he does. At the end of the day, he's just a weirdo, right? I get it. He's autistic. He's on the spectrum, but there's no point in the spectrum where it says it's okay to diddle kids. Like, it just doesn't make sense to equate the two, right? You know, there's no comparison. And being autistic doesn't give you a pass to be a diddler. So it makes all this shit that Dan is doing with kid shows really weird, right? It doesn't matter where his brain is. It just makes it weird that he had this history with a child and now all he does is talk about kid shows on YouTube. It's very weird, and there's clearly something going on there with him and all his friends, because a lot of these users seem to be getting exposed for being weirdos all the time. If you want to see more of these kind of people, you can always check out Deadwingdork. He has a lot of streams on these kind of guys, these users, and it really sheds light on how bad this epidemic is on YouTube. I mean, these people are everywhere. There's like thousands of them that post every single day, and a lot of them are creepy people. So now let's get to the final video I wanted to look at, and that's Dan Sobel reviewing some kind of sandwich from Burger King. Honestly, I've only watched a few of his food reviews and they're pretty funny. They're like kind of boring sometimes, but you know what? If you like really sit through the like boring parts, there's good parts. That's how Dan Sobel is. He's gonna be boring sometimes, but every once in a while he'll say something like that just really catches you off guard, or he'll do something really weird. And then you also got to put into perspective, this guy is in public while he's doing this food review. So, you know, keep that all in mind and, you know, see through it. And it's definitely going to be a good video. Don't worry.
Hi everyone, I'm Dan, the My Little Pony and Sophia the First fan. And I'm here at Burger King once again. And guess what they brought back? Yep, Burger King just brought back the bacon melt. So, this is our taste test review of the day. The bacon melt over here at the folks over at BK. So take a look right here on the thumbnail, everybody. It's got some bacon, and it's got some cheese right there on the thumbnail right now. With a special beef patty, if you ask me. Take a look on the thumbnail right now. So anyways, we're gonna go ahead and try one of the bacon melt from the folks over at BK. So what are we waiting for? Let's get ready to peep this out. But first, I gotta get ready to try the beef barbecue right now, so make it started here. Okay, BBQ is all set and secured. Let's peep this out. Now that tastes really good, and I gotta give the bacon melt over at BK a rockin' 11.5 out of 10. So thanks for enjoying this review, everyone. Make sure you like this video, leave a comment below, and subscribe for more videos. And I'll see you later with some more reviews. Bye.
You guys know what? The crazy thing is that Dan Sobel is a better food reviewer than both Tofia and Nova. Like, he seems a lot more charismatic, and he isn't. Like, he's faking this, but he comes across a lot more charismatic, and he's talking as he goes. You know, he's like basically filling up all the dead space with just random conversations, right? Just random talking about Burger King, and this is from the folks at Burger King, right? It almost seems like he's been studying other people's food reviews so that he can make this, which kind of goes into my theory that he just kind of mimics other people's emotions and, you know, their actions to come across as a more normal individual. So at the end of the day, I rather watch Dan Sobel do like his goofy Blue's Clues children's TV show voice, you know, and talk about Burger King than just sit there and watch Nova or Tofia have an excuse to stuff their gullet. I guess at the end of the day, they're both doing the same thing, but Dan Sobel just does it better. That's the best way to put it. Like, he just does it a little bit better than they do. And Dan Sobel isn't the brightest bulb, right? He isn't the sharpest tool in the shed, as some might say. So I find it pretty wild that even he's able to one-up Nova and Tofia when it comes to their food reviews. And I think it's because they try so hard to be like that one TikTok guy, like too much, to the point where you can definitely tell who they're trying to bite from. Whereas I can't really put my finger on who exactly Dan Sobel is trying to be like, except for like some kind of kid's character or the guy off of Blue's Clues. You know, he's talking as if he's in a children's program. So that brings a lot more humor into the mix, you know what I mean? It's just a lot more entertaining than watching Nova and Tofia do a food review. But you guys in the comments can let me know who you think does the best food review. Nova, Tofia, Dan Sobel, or the boy King Cobra JFS. Y'all gotta let me know, who do you think takes the reins when it comes to food reviewing? But y'all, with that being said, that's my update on Dan Sobel. That's all I have for today's video. I just wanted to give a quick update on him, show you guys where he's been, what he's been doing recently, and he's been staying out of controversy, but dipping his toes in a lot more cringe, let's just say that. So while he might not be doing his basic user videos, he's definitely doing some cringe ass shit. But with that being said, that's the end of this video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All that helps out in the algorithm. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.